Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm gonna be showing you how I made 16.8K trading NQ futures in 2 days. So in those 2 days, I took two trades. I am recording this on Sunday. I took these trades during this week. I took them on Thursday and Friday. So that being November 20th and 21st. But before we get into the trade recaps, I do want to show you guys some proof. So as you guys can see here, Thursday I made 9.3K. There it is, bang. And then Friday, I made an extra 7.5K. Um, Very simple. That puts me at about 20K in payouts this month, just about 25K. I am still, which is not bad. Not what I projected it to be, but still not bad. So that was $25,000 this month. All that proof and everything, yada yada, is in my Discord. But into the trade recaps we will go. We will be reviewing Thursday's trade first, so the 20th of November. Um, so let's do that. Starting off the day on Thursday, I actually was pretty bullish, although I took a bearish trade. Just looking at the 4 hour, you can see us kind of rejecting off this 4 hour gap right here. Very clean rejection onto higher, hopefully targeting this 4 hour gap right here. If I'm not mistaken, we also had, what else do we have here? Hold on. What else do we have? We also had this one daily gap here too, but nothing too crazy. The 1 hour, as you guys can see, we're also trying to inverse all these gaps as well. But as you guys know, sometimes your market being projected into like your bias projected into the market isn't always going to be that the case, you know. And in this case, it wasn't actually. Instead, what happens is if we just play through these candles, right? Let's see. Just give it a quick second. You guys will see. We actually do end up sweeping this London high at 5:30, and we do start to consolidate. Today was actually this Thursday wasn't a good day to trade. Very choppy, I must say. But as you guys can see, we actually finally get a lot of chop, and then we finally get a push lower. So we finally get this push lower. As you guys can see, very strong just drop lower. My initial target was for us to fill this 1 hour gap right here, and also to what's it called, sweep this Asia low as well. So these are my two targets coming into this moment here, and as you guys can see, we will eventually get some kind of, oh shit, what was my target? Hold on, guys. It seems to me like my target, actually, you know what? I was wrong. So we actually finally get that inverse to the gap, right? So this is what I wanted to see. We finally got that inverse of the 1 hour gap. So this 1 hour gap was inverse, confirming us going lower. At the same time, we also got this 5 minute, there it is. We also got this 5 minute fair value gap right here that I was looking to target. And we do get that retracement back at this 825 candle. So as you guys can see, we kind of come back up to the gap and we reject back down. So that was beautiful on my part, honestly. I couldn't have seen better or expected better. And I was targeting this 1 hour gap to be filled right here. So very easy price entry. I did end up entering after we so we got that retracement right into the 5 minute gap. I scrolled to the lower time frame and I saw us create this other 1 minute gap. Now what I wanted to see was for us to reject out this 1 minute gap. If we did that with some strong displacement lower, which is what we get here, then I would have entered, and that's exactly what I did. I entered like around right here, had my stop at about the gap again, and I just targeted this 1 hour fill. As you guys can see, if we play this trade out, boom, there you go. So that's how we made 9K on Thursday. Very easy trade. And then if we scroll down to Friday I made about 7.5K as well. So I'm gonna show you guys how I made that in real time too. So Friday was another interesting day, I mean, to say the least. I mean, the whole week was very questionable in terms of how price action, like how clean price action was. In terms of Friday, what we can see here is we actually ended up dropping lower. But I did see this huge 4 hour gap right here that I knew was a no-brainer for us to tap. So this was my initial target. As you guys can see, we had this huge 4 hour gap that needed to be tapped if we wanted to go lower or even just inverse it, but I knew that this gap needed to be tapped. So this was my main level right here. I wanted us to tap this gap. So that's what I was looking into coming into Friday. And I honestly just looked for any entry, any setup that would display itself to confirm us going, higher into that 4 hour gap. So as you guys can see, we're going to play these candles out. Market opens at 6:30 for me. So by the way, I live in LA and San Diego. I interchange. But 6:30 for me is 9:30 for New York time EST. I live in PST time. But what's it called? So what I saw right here was us a 30-minute gap, right? Again, I was looking for any setup to for higher just because of how strong this level was. This was a very strong 4 hour gap that I wanted us to see us get tapped. And what we actually end up doing is so again, this was my setup was a 30-minute gap. We'll go back there real quick. It wasn't the cleanest trade, but we do have this 30-minute gap, and we actually end up almost inversing the gap, which was to my surprise, of course, because I wanted us to go higher. But um, we actually end up. Oh no, we don't. Okay, wait. Yes, we do. I'm tripping. So yeah, unfortunately, we actually end up almost inversing this gap, which in this case, I feel like it is easy, very easy for one to change their bias just like that. Obviously, you don't want to be married to a bias when you trade, but you also don't want to just change your biases like it's nothing too. So in this case, I could have easily just changed my bias and went shorts here after us inversing this 30-minute gap. But I was still very confident in my bias that we were going to tap this 4 hour gap instead right here. And I could have entered shorts. And if I entered shorts, you would have gone stopped out because again, um, yeah, I mean, of course, the higher time frame bias was bullish, at least until we tapped this 4 hour gap. So, luckily for me, I stood to my bias, and as you guys can see, we actually end up going up higher. We do consolidate a bit, I must say, but we actually end up going higher eventually, which will be seen pretty soon. We do chop a little bit, but again, the draw was just so clear for higher to this 4 hour gap that I just had to take it. So um, nothing was stopping me from taking this trade. And for my entry model after us coming back up higher was actually this 1 minute gap. If we inverse this 1 minute gap with some clean action, price action, just like a clean 1 minute inverse off this gap, I would easily enter this trade for us to target this 4 hour gap. So again, as you guys can see, what ends up happening is, there it is. We kind of missed it, but it's all right. We do get this clean inverse off this 1 minute gap, and I just enter right there. Like I enter like right here, I'm pretty sure. I had my stop at the midpoint, and I just went to target this 4 hour gap. And again, another easy, very easy trade. We did consolidate a bit, but eventually you guys will see that we just hit my target. There it is. So eventually we hit our target pretty nicely. I believe I went break even around here, but we still hit our target. So that's how I made 7.5K on Friday, and eventually making all that money in 2 days. So that's that.